James has gone to visit the countryside on his holidays. His father tells him that this is where they grow rice to make his favorite rice pudding. James remembers seeing his mother buying bags of rice at the supermarket. How do we get rice grains from these rice plants? Father tells James that we use many methods to separate unwanted from the food we eat. Let us learn about a few methods of cleaning food. How do we get grains from cereal plants? When the crops are ready, farmers harvest or cut them and then separate out the grains by a series of processes. The first process is threshing. The word thresh means to beat. Threshing is done in two ways, manually and mechanically. In manual threshing, a pile of dried stalks is beaten on a rock or other surface. This loosens the grains and separates them from the stalks. In some places, the farmers use bullocks to thresh the harvested stalks. Mechanical threshing involves the use of a machine called a thresher. The threshed grains contain unwanted substances such as husk, dried leaves, and stems. These substances together are called chaff. Farmers use a very simple but effective way of separating chaff from grains. It is called winnowing. To understand this process, let's do an activity. Take some lightweight things like pieces of paper, feathers, and cotton wool. Mix them with some wheat grains. Stand on a tall chair in front of a fan and slowly drop the mixture. What do you think will happen? The light particles will be carried away by the wind, and the heavy wheat grains will fall. Similarly, farmers use a winnowing basket to separate the mixture of grains and chaff. When they drop the mixture from a height, grains fall almost vertically and make one heap. And the chaff gets blown away by the wind and makes another heap. James loves to eat walnuts. Seems there are some walnut shells in the plate. How will James separate walnut shells from walnuts? He separated the thing he didn't want from the rest of his food by using a method called hand picking. We use this method to separate unwanted or harmful things that look very different from food particles and are present in a small quantity. Some examples are picking stones and insects from grains and pulses, removing weeds from spinach, and other green leafy vegetables. Sometimes we use a tool called a sieve to separate unwanted solid particles from foods such as pulses, grains, and flours. The sieve is made up of metal plate with small holes or a wire mesh. In sieving, the size of the particles to be removed should be different from the size of the food particles. For example, sieving is used to separate impurities and small stones from flour. James sees his mom soaking rice and lentils in water. After a while, unwanted substances such as dirt and husks dissolve in or float on water. Why did this happen? Rice and lentils are heavier than water, so they settle down. This settling down of heavy substances is called sedimentation. while the lighter impurities float on water and fine particles such as dust dissolve in water. The water containing impurities is then discarded. This is called decantation. Thus, sedimentation and decantation are used to clean the solid impurities from solid food items using a liquid such as water. To separate unwanted solid substances from liquid foods, we use a process called filtration. This method involves a filtering device like a strainer. Can you give some examples of filtration? They are separating tea leaves from tea, pulp from vegetables, fruit juice and cream from milk. Filtration is also used to remove particles such as sand and other impurities from water using fine cloth, filter paper, or a water filter.